No.
ACDC.
Come on.
Well, I know that. I'm gonna go.
Miss Grace or Miss Champion, please remove Angelica Hill from the Zoom until she's parked her car. And I think there's a panel for Angelica. I don't know who that is. Remove that as well.
Move the camera.
For individuals who are not courthouse staff and not criminal defense attorneys, please keep your video off and your audio on mute until we address your case. All right. Courtroom 2, are we ready to proceed?
Well,
Yes, we're ready, Your Honor.
Copy that.
this case, you need the law completely off.
Okay.
All right.
Ms. Allen, can you hear me?
Hold on.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm ready.
Ms. Allen, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
I don't know why I'm not getting any audio. Just give me a minute, please.
What is it?
She's not. No, she's not. She's on.
Your Honor, we're ready in courtroom 2.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Your Honor,
Can you
we're
hear
ready
me?
in courtroom 2.
I don't think she can hear you.
Ms. Allen, can you hear
Yes.
me?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
Courtroom
good.
2, we good in audio?
Can you hear courtroom 2, Your Honor?
Yes, I can. Thank you. Sorry, we just had a little snafu. All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Law, and we're going to proceed with our misdemeanor calendar. This are for cases in which individuals were recently arrested and booked at the Fulton County Jail. On being booked, their cases were formally accused by the prosecutor, which is the Solicitor General of Fulton County. This would be the defendant's initial appearance before a judicial officer, at which time he or she will be informed of the new accusation case number, the charges brought against the individual, to appoint counsel where necessary, and to set a bond. For certain cases, a new court date will also be provided. Ms. Grace, what's the new court date?
It's going to be Miss Champion. It's August the 27th, Your Honor.
27. Thank you, Ms. Champion.
22nd, I'm sorry.
2-2. Okay,
Yes.
22nd. Got it. All right. If you are a defendant accused of one or more misdemeanor offenses, please remember you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and if you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you. Courtroom 2, who do we have, please?
Your Honor, if we can do this case in the breakout room.
Okay.
Just for all the pertinent people that can handle the case. We don't want anyone else in the courtroom that has nothing to do with this case. If it's okay, Your Honor.
We'll go into a breakout. Is there anyone in the courtroom?
No.
No.
Okay. Miss Grace, I guess that she's hosting. If you could put courtroom 2, Mr. McLean and Miss Kim, Miss Allen, and myself in a breakout, please.
You gonna get the history in the breakout?
Yes, please join the breakout, Mr. Howard.
What case is this?
Yeah, who
I
is
don't
this?
know.
This is position number 14.
14. Okay, got it.
Oh, I don't have that history. That wasn't on my pull sheet.
Okay.
State, do you?
Yeah, courtroom 2, you'll see a message on your screen to.
I have a
join.
GCIC, Mr. Howard.
Okay.
Okay, that would help. All right, ACDC, while we wait for courtroom 2 to resume,
What was that bond amount?
3,100. 100 on the marijuana, 1,500 on each on the other 2 counts. No,
We're gonna
stay away, pretrial level 1. 1 day anger awareness.
So 3,100. All right.
Log
Okay, thank you.
on.
Okay,
We're pulling out the other defendants now.
all right, no problem. I'm just wondering if ACDC is here.
Yes, they're about to log back on.
Okay.
You want to work on it? Yo, check it out.
Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Law, and this is for those who were not in the courtroom just now. This is your first appearance for a misdemeanor calendar in which individuals have been charged and accused of misdemeanor criminal offenses. Please remember that you have a right to remain silent about the facts of the case, and you have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you. If you decide to waive your right to remain silent, please remember that your statements can and will be used against you in the treatment of your case. Courtroom 2, who should I begin with?
We can start with position number 12, Mr. Lowe.
Okay.
Sit
This
right
is
there.
State versus Charles Lowe, accused of battery from August 7th, 2024. Mr. Lowe, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is going to be Mr. McLean. Any prize, Mr. Howard?
2021 probation. On probation for theft by taking. 15 SC 131906. And a 2016 probation violation. That's
Thank
it.
you.
Your Honor,
Um,
this is an incident that occurred on August the 7th at 1:30 in the morning at the store specifically called the East Point Food Mart. That's at 3887 Washington Road in East Point. The defendant became angry at a coworker who he said was watching him and shoved this gentleman to the floor 2 different times, causing him to get a laceration across his nose and some scratches on him as well. The victim, his name is Procoro, Procoro, Casa Mario, Casa or Casi, excuse me, Mario, or Procoro Casimario, excuse me, reported that he was trying to stop his coworker from stealing beer from the store when he was assaulted by Mr. Lowe. We have not been able to get in touch with the victim in this case, Your Honor. This is a request for a $4,000 surety, no contact, and to stay away from the location at 3887 Washington Road. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
Thank you. Mr. McLean? I'm sorry, you're on mute, sir. If you could unmute your panel, please. Thank you.
He denies these charges. He will go to trial on this and prevail, he believes. So the opposite of the situation was actually what was occurring. He would like the court to consider his previous history and give him a signature bond. He had something, he did have a 10-year probation thing in Fulton in 2015 based on something in 2014. He's got a few other things, but given the facts of this case and the length of time between that and other troubles, he'd like the court to consider a signature bond.
Okay. Bond is set at 1,000. It's a surety bond. No further contact with Procoro Casimario and to stay away from the East Point Food Mart. He'll need to let his employer know that he's got a stay away order and that he cannot return to that location, nor can he have any contact with Mr. Casimario. And his next court date is going to be August 22nd. Thank you.
Next, we have position 7, Ms. Hayes.
This is State versus Kiana Hayes, 24 CR 5564C, in which she's accused of simple battery, willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer, and disorderly conduct from August 8th. This Hayes, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is going to be Mr. McLean. Any priors, Mr. Howard? Mr. Howard? Ms. Mokeke, do you have her GCIC?
I have that she has 4 arrest cycles, a 2023 arrest for theft by taking, I apologize, and a DUI, a 2021 conviction for disorderly conduct, that was first offender, a 2019 DUI. The defendant is accused of spitting on nurse Mary Stovall while the nurse attempted to calm her down while she was in the emergency room. The defendant is further accused of becoming irate with nurse Giselle Echeverry, Echeverry, and going behind the nurse's desk, grabbing the nurse's phone and throwing it against the nurse's keyboard. When officers tried to detain the defendant, she resisted arrest by placing her foot and her head on the door pillars of the patrol unit so they could not close the door of the vehicle. She was also kicking at officers and attempted to bite one of the officers. Our office has spoken with one of the victims, Ms. Giselle Echeverry, who stated that she has not had any prior contact with the defendant, and the defendant threw the phone at her and she missed, and that's when it hit the keyboard. The state's recommendation is a $1,000 surety bond on each count, no further contact with either of the victims, stay away from the incident location except by appointment or medical necessity, anger awareness, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol. And I would ask the court to sound for both victims, Ms. Mary Stovall and Giselle Echeverry.
Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, she was coming out of a seizure at the time. There will be a medical explanation at trial for all these matters. She asked the court to consider a signature bond, given that that was the situation. Your Honor, she will hire private counsel to pursue this in the future.
Okay. On the, I'm sorry, which hospital was this, Ms. Mokeke?
I think it's the Wellstar, North Fulton, 3000 Hospital Boulevard in Roswell.
Okay. Is that correct, Mr. McLean?
That's correct.
I think it used to be called the North Fulton Medical Center. Okay. On the simple battery is going to be 2,000 each. 2,000. The willful obstruction is 1,000 and the disorderly conduct 1,000. Total bond is set at 4,000. It's going to be a signature bond for pretrial services, level 2. She'll have to report to pretrial services twice a month. She is to undergo a MHET at her expense within 15 days from today and comply with all medication and treatment. She's to stay away from the Wellstar facility at 3000 Hospital Boulevard in Roswell, Georgia, unless she has a medical appointment with a provider or she's seeking emergency medical treatment, at which time she's to have no further violent contact with Echeverry. I'm trying to see the first name. I don't have a first name.
Giselle
Echeverry and Mary Stovall, as well as other North Fulton, Wellstar staff. Ms. Hayes, you can sign up for your signature bond, but if you get arrested again, please be sure to understand that your signature bond will be revoked and this bond will convert to a $4,000 surety bond. Your next court date will be sent to your current mailing address. Make sure that your address is current with the courts at all times. Thank you.
What's that total?
2,000 on simple battery and 1,000 each on the remaining charges.
You said level 2, right?
Level 2, correct.
All right.
Next, we will go to position number 6, Mr. Flannery.
666, okay. This is State versus Londe Flannery, accused of 2 counts of simple battery, 24 CR 5563J. Mr. Flannery has been advised of his rights, and his attorney is Mr. McLean. Any prize, Mr. Howard?
18. Last arrest was in July for a CWAC charge and trespass out of Clayton County. Got an open ag assault in Superior Court. It's 24 SC 002407. 2 FTAs from this year, 2 probations from last year. 2023 FTA, a simple battery conviction, 2023.
That's good. That's good. Thank you. Ms. Mulcahy? I'm sorry, you're on mute.
Thank you. Officers responded to the incident location and met with the victim, Shatara Peace, who stated that her boyfriend, the defendant, had assaulted her by punching her in the face several times and hitting her with the belt on the side of her torso. The defendant was upset because the victim had come to his residence without calling first. The victim told officers the defendant had assaulted her a few days before. The victim did manage to escape and ran next door to call the police. He does also have some simple battery arrests out of 2018, another one out of 2020, and it looks like he has 2 out of 2021. The state's recommendation is a $2,000 surety on each count of simple battery, no further contact with this victim, anger awareness or an FVIP, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol. And I would ask the court to sound for Shatara Peace.
Shatara Peace, if you on Zoom, you can unmute and start your video. All right, Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, I'm looking on the Odyssey sheet. I'm just seeing the 1 simple battery. Is that correct?
No, it's 2 counts. Yes, it's possible they may have.
Yeah, we added another count, so it's 2 counts.
That's what I thought, yeah. That's 1 warrant for simple battery, correct?
Okay. Now the open ag assault case, he is going to trial on that and is very confident of prevailing in that situation. Your Honor, he denies these charges. He'd like to ask the court to set a signature bond. He has a stable address in Fairburn. The thing that's in Odyssey is correct. And he works at a warehouse company and also works at a moving company. So he is industrious and employed.
Right. On count 1 of the simple battery is going to be 2,500, and that's going to be a surety bond. The second count is 2,000. That's a signature bond to the jail. His total bond is 4,500, and that's a split bond. His next court date is August 22nd, and no further contact with Shatara Peace, P-E-A-S-E, I believe. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and we will see him in court on the 22nd unless he bonds out. Thank you.
Hunter, can you say the breakdown again?
2,500 surety on count 1. 2,000 signature bond through the jail on count 2.
What's the signature bond?
It's a split bond.
Position 20, Ms. Young.
This is State versus Ariel Young. Let me see, Ms. Allen, is this 2 separate cases with regards to Ms. Young?
Yes, Ms. Young has 2 separate cases, Your Honor.
The add-on and this one. Okay. Ms. Young, you have 2 separate matters. The first one is 24 CR 005556G, in which you have 2 separate counts of battery from March 16th, 2024. The second case is a new matter that's been added on. Sorry, I didn't catch the accusation number. That's 24 CR 005556 575G, and that's for one count of battery, family violence, and cruelty in the third degree. With respect to both cases, please remember you have the right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Kim. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
Second, last arrest was in January. Possession of a Schedule 1 and reckless conduct. It's 24 PI 000426.
Thank you. Ms. Allen?
Thank you. So yes, the defendant is on bond in a Superior Court case involving accidental ingestion of edibles by her daughter, who is also the victim in the case ending 575G of the cruelty in the third degree, Your Honor. She was present for that assault. I'm going to start with the first case from March the 16th of 2024. At about 7 p.m. on that date, police were called to 5141 Old National Highway in College Park, where the victim, who's a cosmetologist at the location, at the salon there, reported being assaulted by two women who came into the location. She was seen to have a gash to her head and a bloody nose. She had been working at the salon when two individuals entered and assaulted her. Video surveillance was obtained and showed this defendant with a co-defendant, Crystal Roberts, who is out on bond now, in case 24 CR 003367E. I believe she was in court in May. Both women were seen advancing on the victim, striking her multiple times with hands, punches, with closed fist, kicking her on the ground and dragging her across the floor. Officers were able to identify the defendants using their Instagram accounts, and then investigation revealed that these individuals were specifically identified, associated with those accounts. Lineups were created, and the victim successfully picked out both individuals in lineups, and warrants were obtained. We have been in touch with the victim in this case. Her name is Imani, Imoni. Last name is Major, Major. She said she does not know these young women or their friends, that she believes that they were friends of a brother that she had who passed away. And these women are accusing her family of being responsible for the death of her brother and seeking revenge. She said that about 7 young women have been stalking and harassing her, and that during this incident, they just came to her location where she works and assaulted her. She began receiving death threats from fake Instagram pages, just a lot of harassment as a result of this, and some kind of belief that she's responsible for the death of someone, and these women are, gonna make her pay. She has requested no contact and a stay away. She said she received Facebook threats yesterday as it relates to this incident and this defendant and co-defendant. She may be here on Zoom if you could sound for Ms. Major.
Imoni Major, are you on Zoom? No. All right, please proceed.
And
What
so,
about the second case?
Yes.
One involving Miss Deanna Young.
yes. So the second case happened subsequent to the incident at the salon at 6/15/24 is the date. And this happened at 5580 Schofield Drive, Schofield, in South Fulton. Her mother, the defendant's mother, Deanna Young, DEANNA, and her child, Adream, ADREAM Young. That child's date of birth is 10/24/20. Made a report to police of an incident. The child was on the scene and witnessed crying and yelling and telling her mother to stop hitting her grandmother. Grandma, Mrs. Deanna Young, had visible injuries to her chest, her neck, and her chin. It is reported that during the incident, Mrs. Young was kicked in the stomach, dragged down the stairs by her hair, and punched in the head. She did sustain scratches to her chin. We've been in touch with Miss Young, who today, August, after this incident, in June, and her daughter had already assaulted a stranger at a salon and already was out on bond for recklessly allowing her child, the same little girl, screaming, asking for this defendant to stop hitting grandma, ingest narcotics. Mom says today they're not living together, so there's no requirement as far as a stay away. They're on good terms now, and she is not fearful. The state's going to request, Your Honor, on these two cases, each a $6,000 surety bond and to stay away from both locations. No contact with the victims in this case, including the child, Adream Young. There is not only a concern about a risk for safety to the public, ongoing risk of safety to Mrs. Imani Major, who's reporting she's continuing to receive threats from these young women that are now accused officially in this case. But there's a risk to the child that is now a party to a felony case in Superior Court, and here on the scene, obviously in distress, emotional distress.
Thank you. Miss Kim?
Yes, my client, Miss Young, is only 22 years young. She was born and raised here in Georgia. She believes that she denies the allegation. Her mother struggles with alcoholics, and she does not even remember anything about this. And my client says it was the other way around, but she's the one who's arrested. And 3-year-old daughter, her father is incarcerated, so she is a single mom without any child support or any support. So if the daughter she's the only one that daughter has. So we would like to request for a signature on bond through pretrial, no matter what level it is. She has nobody else to pay her out. And that 3-year-old daughter needs her. So we would like to request for no further violent contact. Right now, she's been doing odd jobs at salon, makeup or hairs, but now she's gonna be starting her new job at Amazon warehouse on August 12th. And it's a great opportunity for her to make stable income, to take care of her child and herself. So I really want her to get that job. That's about it, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. On position 20, on each count of battery, that's going to be a $2,000 surety. That's a $4,000 surety bond. No further contact with Imani Major, and no further contact with the alleged co-defendant, Crystal Roberts. And stay away from 51410 Old National Highway. No illegal drugs, alcohol, and weapons. On the add-on case, for the battery family violence, that's going to be a $3,000 surety. And the cruelty to the third degree, that's going to be a $1,000 surety. Total bond of $4,000 surety. No further contact with Deanna Young. No further contact with Adream Young, subject to defects requirements. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. And to stay away from 5580 Schofield Drive in South Fulton. The next court date for both cases is August 22nd. Thank you.
Your Honor, what was the add-on amount?
On the battery family violence is 3,000. On the cruelty is 1,000 surety. 4,000 total. Courtroom 2, who do we have?
We can go to position number 16, Mr. Walker.
This is State versus Michael Walker, accused of simple battery family violence on June 8, 2024. Case number is 24 CR 5571G. Mr. Walker, you've been advised of your right to remain silent and to counsel. Your attorney is going to be, who is it? Mr. McLean or Ms. Kim?
Kim.
Who is Mr. Michael Walker's appointed counsel?
Kim.
Ms. Kim? All right, thank you. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
15. Last arrest was 3 days ago for window tint, but it was probably this outstanding warrant, I'm sure. 2010 simple battery dismissed. 2009 battery DV dismissed.
Thank you. Ms. Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. This is an incident that happened on June the 25th. Or no, that's his birthday. I apologize. This is an incident that happened on June the 8th of 2024 at 1021 Harwell Road Northwest, apartment 102C. At about 3:10 p.m., the victim, Angelica Walker, reported that they share a child, that there was a incident at her residence concerning the defendant becoming angry during the child exchange. She went to close the door because of his behavior. He prevented her from closing the door. This was witnessed by her brother, Mr. Sanchez Hill, who was outside. He observed the defendant pushing himself into the residence forcefully and then slapping the victim, Mrs. Angelica Walker, in her face. I did note the 2 prior domestic violence arrests and cases for battery family violence here in Fulton County. One was dismissed, one was dead docketed. They are old, and so I was unable to pull up any documents that show who the victim was or any reason for the dead docket or dismissal. We have been in touch with Ms. Walker. She reported then that this incident in June did happen, but that she never wanted to press charges, and this has never happened before. They have contact, and there's been no violence since, and she's not afraid. She may be on the Zoom if you would sound for Ms. Walker. Obviously, the state's got some concerns because the prior arrests and cases for similar behavior, and this was done in front of a witness, and these people share a child. My understanding was that there may be a divorce filing that was associated with these two, but I don't see anything at this point in our system. I'm not sure where that divorce filing would be out of. We would request no further violent contact, Your Honor, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. And this is a single count of a slap in the face. We would ask for $2,000 surety bond.
Ms. Angelica Walker, if you are on Zoom and you want to address the court, you would need to unmute and start your video now. All right, Ms. Kim?
Yes. My client was born 1981. Your Honor, they got married around 2019. So the previous ones, 2010, 2009.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Ms. Walker,
I
if you
couldn't
want to.
I couldn't find the unmute button. I do apologize.
All right, please hold. Ms. Grace or Ms. Champion, could you prompt the speaker to start the video? Ms. Walker, if you want to address the court, you will need to start your video.
Okay, I think, can you see me now?
Yes. Did you want to say something?
Yes, I
Raise
did
your right
not
hand.
want, sorry.
Do you solemnly
Yes.
swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes,
Okay. The decision to proceed with these charges is not with the alleged victim. It is with the Solicitor General's Office of Fulton County. They make the decision based on the warrant issued by the police as to whether they have sufficient evidence to move forward with the prosecution. So if you are not inclined to move forward with this case, I simply need to ask you at the present time, are you both, you and Mr. Walker, presently living in separate houses?
yes, we're not together.
All right. And has a divorce action been filed?
We haven't filed through the courts, but he did voluntarily sign the papers. I was just financially unstable to go ahead and file them.
And do you and Mr. Walker share a parenting plan at the present time?
No, we never really had this problem before. He's always been a good dad as far as coming to get the kids and providing for the kids. He was just angry for that day, and this divorce and us break up, it's been kind of a rough patch, but I mean, we'll work through it, but I'm not afraid of him, and I don't want to keep him away from his son. And most importantly, I need him out of jail so that he will not lose his job.
All right, thank you. Ms. Kim, anything else to add?
Yes, Your Honor. Well, he's gainfully employed. So the previous charge, 2010 or 2009, has nothing to do with Angelica Walker. I just wanted to confirm that. And also, I mean, no further contact is what we want to do. And $2,000 signature on bond your pretrial. We would like to appreciate that. Thank you.
Mr. Walker, with regards to the simple battery family violence, that's going to be a 2,500 signature bond through pretrial services level 1. You are to have no further violent contact with Angelica Walker, and y'all can decide on whatever parenting plan you both come up with, and there can be shared custody and visitation with child or children in question. Within 30 days of being released from the Fulton County Jail, you will enroll in a domestic violence intervention program, and where you will begin these series of classes. There are 24 weeks of classes, and you must attend every class without skipping any of them. As I've indicated, as a condition to your bond, you must enroll in that program within 30 days of being released. You have to abstain from all alcoholic beverages and from all illegal drugs, and you will be subject to random screens by pretrial services. Like I said, no illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and no firearms. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we can go to position number 2, Mr. Blasingame.
Okay.
Judge, I got first arrest.
Okay. This is State versus William Blasingame, 24 CR 5557G. Mr. Blasingame, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Mr. McLean. This is the first arrest. Ms. Mokeke?
I had 3 arrest cycles. They're all pretty old. A 1997 purchase and possession or sale of marijuana, a 2007 financial identity fraud. Officers responded to the incident location 2904 Carriage Lane, South Fulton, in reference to a domestic dispute. Upon arrival, they observed the defendant with a ripped shirt showing signs of a fight. The victim, Trinity Martin, stated the parties were having a verbal dispute. She poured water on the defendant, after which he slammed her onto the couch and held her down by her neck. She was on the phone with a friend of hers, Miss Sinclair, and Miss Sinclair called the police. The defendant did admit to officers that he pushed the victim and held her down after she poured water on him. Per the warrant, both parties were charged with simple battery for fighting and cruelty to children in the 3rd degree because Miss Martin's daughter heard the incident. Because this is a simple battery, the cruelty to children was NOD'd. We have spoken with Miss Martin, who confirmed that her and the defendant are in a relationship and they live together, but they share no children. She confirmed the events in the warrant. She denied that the defendant placed his hands around her neck and applied pressure. She said that she was able to breathe and she didn't feel like she was going to lose consciousness. She stated nothing like this has ever happened before. She's not in fear of the defendant and she wants to continue contact. The state's recommendation is a $1,500 surety bond, no further violent contact with the victim, anger awareness, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol. And I would ask the court to sound for Ms. Martin if she is on the Zoom.
Trinity Martin, if you are present, please. I do see a Trinity. Ms. Martin, if you want to contribute, you can start your video and unmute. All right. Ms. Kim, is that your client or was it Mr. McLean? Mr. McLean, is that your client?
Mr. Blasingame is.
All right. Thank you. It's going to be a 1,500 signature bond through pretrial services level 1. No further violent contact with Trinity Martin. He may return to the location. No alcohol, no illegal drugs, and no weapons and no firearms. He will also attend and complete 2 anger awareness classes with pretrial services, and his next court date will be sent to his current mailing address. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good. Yeah. Um.
Who's next, please?
We'll go with Mr. Battle, position number 1.
All right. Is there Ashley Bolden present as well?
Your Honor, they are co-defendants, of course. I interviewed Mr. Battle,
Mhm.
but we apparently do not have a conflict defender today. Is that correct?
That would be correct, but we can still proceed with first appearance. Is Miss Bolden present? Ashley Bolden?
Your Honor, she's in quorum too.
All right, is she the one seated in the front row?
Yes.
All right, thank you. This is 2 cases involving co-defendants. First one is 24 CR 5555H, State versus Emmanuel Battle, charged with battery, family violence from yesterday. And then the co-defendant is Ashley Bolden. Miss Bolden's also accused. Where is she going?
No, she right here, she.
Miss Ashley Bolden, please raise your right hand.
Yeah.
Okay, just want to be sure that's her. Ashley Bolden is also accused of battery, family violence involving the same victim from yesterday. Both of you have been advised of your right to remain silent, and Mr. Battle, your attorney is currently appointed a public defense counsel, Mr. Michael McLean. Miss Ashley Bolden, as you are a co-defendant in the same case for the same incident and the same victim, you will be appointed conflict counsel if you cannot afford your own attorney. Presently, we do not have a conflict counsel present, but one will be appointed to represent you. I think I'm going to go ahead and appoint Maureen McLeod as soon as Ms. McLeod comes back from where she is presently. She will be, please notify her that her client is Ashley Bolden. Okay, Mr. Howard, any priors with regards to Mr. Battle?
I got first.
Your
Mr.
Honor,
Ryan?
Your Honor,
Yes,
I believe that Miss Bolden wanted to go pro se.
all right. I'll address her shortly. And any priors with Miss Bolden?
Third, 2014 battery. I think it was reduced to a fray, but it was dismissed. 2012 shoplifting.
Thank you. And
It'll be me, Your Honor.
oh, Ms. McCarthy, yes. Go
The
ahead.
parties are accused of battery against their 1-year-old child, Naomi Peacock, who is the victim in this case. The defendants were at Northside Hospital waiting for defendant Bolden to be seen. The victim began crying and defendant Battle was observed grabbing the child and shaking him. Defendant Battle was observed grabbing the child by the face and shaking him. Defendant Bolden was observed whipping the child with a USB cord and spraying him with water. Officers did observe marks on the child's face as well as his mouth. The parties had another minor child who was present, and both children were taken to Children's Hospital of Atlanta per the warrant. We have contacted DFACS to see where the children are currently, and DFACS has stated that they do not have a case involving these individuals. The state's recommendation is going to be a $2,500 surety bond on each. Contact to be determined by any pending DFACS investigation. This did happen yesterday at 4:30, so I'm not sure if it just hasn't processed through the system yet. A parenting class, and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
Thank you. Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, for Mr. Battle's behalf, I would ask the court to consider a signature bond, given that this is his first. I did notice that the affidavit for arrest forms were filled out in a way where there was a mistake. It accused him of whipping with a USB cable and spraying water in his face, but the actual report did not have that. He was accused of grabbing the child and shaking. He denies that he shook them in any kind of way, that he was simply putting his hands on the child to calm the child and to get the child to quit crying. So he denies the allegations. The parenting class would be absolutely appropriate. I would like the court to take into account that since they are a family, it's like whatever bond there is double in cost. But we would like to ask the court to consider a signature bond for him.
Deputy, if I'll issue a ruling on Mr. Battle shortly. If Mr. Battle could have a seat on the gallery behind him, and Ms. Bolden, if you could come forward to the chair.
Sir, slide down, slide down.
No, Madam Clerk, I'm sorry.
Mr. Battle needs to be seated in the gallery. Thank you. All right. Ms. Bolden, my name is Judge Lal. You have a right to appointed counsel. If you cannot afford one or one's not available today, you will be appointed with a conflict counsel. Unfortunately, conflict counsel is not available for first appearance today, so I can have one assigned to you. You also have a right to remain silent. Anything that you choose to say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. Would you like the representation by conflict counsel?
I would like to request a signature bond so that I can.
I'm asking you about your attorney, so focus on the question. Would you like to have appointed counsel, or would you like to waive your right to counsel and represent yourself?
No, ma'am. I would like to.
No, ma'am, what?
I would like to represent myself.
All right, if you choose to waive your right to counsel and represent yourself, then please understand that you're responsible for understanding the law and how it applies to the facts of your case. And you are also responsible for any legal decisions you make as to impact upon your freedom or any other open cases you may have. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right. Ms. Mokeki, what's the bond recommendation for Ms. Bolden?
The bond recommendation is a $2,500 surety. Contacts to be determined by any pending defects investigation or any defects investigation in general. A parenting class, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol. The same as Mr. Battle.
Thank you. Ms. Bolden, that is the bond recommendation, a $2,000 surety and contact with any child or children in accordance with defects investigation. Do you have a response?
So I'm not eligible for a signature bond?
I don't know. What is your argument for a signature bond? Why should one be granted?
To return to work and school.
Anything else?
Also, the kids have activities that they have school as well.
All right. Thank you. With respect to Mr. Battle and Ms. Bolden, the bond is going to be set at $2,000 for each count of battery, family violence. That's going to be a surety bond. No further violent contact with the children that they share, including MP. They both, once they are released from bond, they're both required to undergo a parenting class, and all contact with the children they share shall be in accordance with defects rules and any defects investigation. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons. The next court date is going to be August 22nd. Thank you.
All right.
Next case, please.
Yeah, and I have a question about position number 2. Was the cruelty to children NRC?
There was a 1,500 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further violent contact with Trinity Martin, and he needs to attend. Yeah,
He has another charge, cruelty to children.
oh, that was NOD.
Okay,
That's been removed from the docket.
thank you.
Next case, please.
We can go to position number 4, Mr. Campbell.
Jeremy Campbell, please come forward. This is State versus Jeremy Campbell, case 24 CR 5560D, accused of battery, family violence from April 19th, 2024. Mr. Campbell, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Mr. McLean. Any priors, please?
26. Got an open case out of Superior Court. It's 24 PI 001 945. That's burglary, criminal damage to property. Got a felony obstruction, attempting to elude, 21 SC 178592. Got a kidnapping, ag assault, possession of a firearm or knife during the commission. Cruelty to children, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. It's 24 SC 000106.
Was the kidnapping charge dismissed? I've got a,
I see an Odyssey where it says dismissed, but if you scroll down in the cases, you'll see where it's under that case number I just gave you.
okay, I do see it, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
That's good, thank you.
Okay.
Ms. Mokeke, what's your recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor. Just to put the facts on the record, the officers responded to the incident location for a physical altercation. They met with the victim, Angelica Moss, who had a swollen upper lip, scratch on her nose, and swelling on her cheek. She stated that the father of her child had assaulted her after she called him a name for having an open condom wrapper in his hand when she went to his house. The defendant grabbed her, punched her in the face, and also struck her in the face when she attempted to flee. Our office has spoken with the victim, who stated they're in a relationship and they live together and they have one child. The incident location was the defendant's mother's residence. She confirmed the events in the warrant, stated this has never happened before, stated they're living together at a different location and there has been no violence since. She's not in fear and she wants to continue contact and for him to return to the residence. The state's recommendation is a $3,500 surety bond, no further violent contact with Angelica Moss, anger awareness, and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol. I do believe I see Ms. Moss on the Zoom, so I would ask the court to sound for her.
Angelica Moss, if you'd like to address the court, please unmute and start your video. All right, Mr. McLean.
Your Honor, while those charges from before sound, it turns out that the kidnapping charge was claiming the victim being his 4-year-old at the time, now 6-year-old son, Carter Campbell. And I believe I haven't looked him up to see the dismissal.
No, that appears to be dismissed. I think the open case involves possession of a controlled substance with Schedule 2 with intent to distribute, and a felony obstruction as well as a willful obstruction. So
Right.
I'm aware of the charges.
Very, very good. And there was a mention of a burglary, but he had shown someone that he lived there and he can't burglarize his own place. It had to do with the PlayStation that actually belonged to Carter, the child. So there was, I think that case is, if it's open, he will prevail on that.
Okay.
Your Honor, in this case, I'd like to say that he has his cycles there, but he has taken care of several cases. He did have things, traffic ticket and possession of marijuana in the past, but he works steadily, and he would like to ask the court to consider a signature bond or a very low surety bond, lower than what the state mentioned. Let's see, he's 34 and he is local, has community ties, so he's not from out of state.
And he's been very active with the Fulton County Jail for the last few years. Mr. Jeremy Campbell, your bond is going to be set at $3,000. It's going to be a surety bond. Your next court date is going to be August 22nd. No further contact with Angelica Moss and no contact with the child or children that you share with her. If you intend to have any kind of joint visitation or custody, please file a separate legitimation action to obtain a court order to establish visitation and custody. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no firearms and weapons. And your next court date is August 22nd. Thank you.
So it's not a signature bond?
You don't qualify, sir. Thank you.
What was the amount?
3,000 surety. Next case I have is Christy Sedano, or would that be the next case, Deputy?
No, Your Honor, we're gonna go to position number. We're going to position number 19.
Okay. This is State versus Monty Wilson, accused of theft by shoplifting from June 14th of this year. Mr. Wilson, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is going to be Mr. McLean. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
Your Honor, this is also a conflict case, Your Honor.
Oh, is it? Okay. In that case, Mr. Monty Wilson, your attorney is going to have to be appointed. I will appoint Dennis Murphy to represent Mr. Monty Wilson, and he will be informed of this appointment. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
Yeah. He got the open capital case 24 SC 002-364. Have you seen it?
Yes, I also saw a 55, 53 state case, 24 CR.
Yeah, we had him yesterday too for another charge. I forgot what charge it was.
Your Honor, that's my case. He was on the docket yesterday. There has been no conflict defender this week, but he was appraised of his charges. He wanted to go pro se.
All right,
This
so
incident,
he currently has a $2,000 good bond from yesterday?
I believe so, and the shoplifting warrants were just lost, I believe, in the paperwork. He had outstanding warrants for multiple cases. And the case yesterday was the facts around his arrest. So it looks like there was this outstanding shoplifting case.
All right, and what's the state's recommendation?
A $1,000 surety bond and to stay away from the location. This is a shoplifting at the Target at 5200 Windward Parkway in Milton from June 14th, excuse me. The item stolen, the defendant actually went into the location and picked that outfit and then went into the changing room and changed into that outfit and then left the location. So the value of the entire outfit was determined to be about $38.
All right. Miss Kim, Mr. McLean, anything to add?
He doesn't have an attorney, Your Honor.
Oh, he doesn't. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. It's confusing.
I know. Mr. McLean, did you speak to him at all?
No, Your Honor.
He doesn't want to speak to an attorney at all? Oh, that's right. This is conflict. Let me get my brain straight. Okay. Mr. Wilson, right now the state is asking for a surety bond. If you choose to represent yourself, you would need to understand how the law applies to the facts of your case, as well as you'll be responsible for any legal decision that you make and its impact upon your freedom, any other open cases, of which you have quite a few, as well as any other holds you may have. Would you like to speak to appointed counsel down the road?
No, ma'am.
So you want to waive your right to counsel and represent yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Any response to the state's request for a surety bond? None? Okay.
I didn't hear what you said.
I said, do you have a response to the state's request for a surety bond for one count of misdemeanor theft by shoplifting? Do you have a response?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Bond is set at $1,000. It is a surety bond to stay away from the incident location, no illegal drugs, alcohol, and weapons. And the next court date is, was it the 22nd from yesterday's court date as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so both cases are going to be reset to August 22nd. And just in case, please let Mr. Murphy know if he can reach out and speak to Mr. Wilson. Otherwise, we can deem that to be pro se. Next case, please.
We could go to Ms. Dino. Position
Sorry,
number,
Deputy, could you repeat that name?
position number 5.
Okay. This is State versus Christy Sedano, accused of criminal trespass from August 8th of this year. Accusations 24 CR 5562Y. She's been advised of her rights, and her attorney is going to be Mr. McLean. Any priors?
I got first.
All right. Ms. Mulcahy?
Yes, Your Honor. The defendant is accused of trespassing on 1000 Park Avenue, Northeast Atlanta. I believe that is the Huntley Apartments, after receiving a criminal trespass warning on July 29th, 2024, and being told multiple times not to return. The state's recommendation is a signature bond. Stay away from that incident location. No drugs, weapons, or alcohol.
Mr. McLean is going to be a $1,500 signature bond through pretrial services. How old is your client? I think she's over 21. So this is going to be a level 1. And to stay 200 yards away from the entire location known as the Huntley apartment complex. She is not to return to that location at all. And she's to report to pretrial once a month. If she gets arrested again, then her signature bond will be revoked. Thank you.
Thank you.
What was the amount, Your Honor?
1,500 signature bond to pretrial level 1.
Thank you very much. You can have a seat, Mother. Next, we can go to position number 17, Mr. Warren.
Aaron Warren's accused under 24 CR 5569D. The charges are battery, criminal trespass causing damage to property, and reckless conduct from August 8th of 2024. Mr. Warren, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is Ms. Kim. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
8th arrest. Last was in July for trespass. Appears to have an open public order crime, disorderly conduct out of Alabama. Open case. You got an open case in state court 24 CR 002 248D. That's trespass and obstruction. Got another open trespass 24 CR 004 736C 2019 FTA.
Thank you. Ms. Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. This is a incident that occurred on August the 8th at 14th and Spring Street. Police were called to that location on a traffic hazard. On scene, a defendant was seen, or it was reported that this defendant had been throwing rocks at passing motorists. Someone flagged police down. It was actually the 911 caller, Mr. Brian Maya, Bryan Maya. He reported he'd been a passenger in a vehicle that had gone by, and this defendant had thrown rocks. One of those rocks struck him in the hand. He had abrasions on his hand, and another rock struck the column between the front and back seat of the vehicle, so the side panel of the car, causing some damage. The car was being driven by his brother, Oscar, with the last name same, I believe, Maya. The defendant was located panhandling nearby, and he was seen to have open cases, Your Honor. We've tried to get in touch with the victim this morning or today, but we haven't had any luck at this point. We'll continue to.
Mr. McLean?
It's actually my.
Oh, Ms. Kim, sorry, excuse me.
No problem, Your Honor. My client is only 26 years old, and he graduated from high school 2016. He likes a fashion show. Your Honor, the warrant clearly says that the person was wearing black shirt and blue jeans. He is actually at the courtroom too with the same clothes that he was wearing when he was arrested that day. He is not wearing blue jean, and he was passerby. He was not throwing the rock. There was another person. He believes that this was a mistaken. Somebody else was mistaken into him. And we would like to request for a signature on bond through pretrial. He is recommended for level 2. He does. That's it, Your Honor. We would like to request for that. And he doesn't know any of these people, so there's no problem with no further contact, and that location is also a public place, so there's no way to stay away either. So
okay,
Your Honor, there was a show-up identification done in this case. Two different 911 callers called and reported a description of the defendant.
Very
Understood.
similar,
I'm sorry?
a very similar person.
Yeah, I read the warrants. Thank you. With regard to the battery, it's going to be 1,500. The criminal trespass causing damage to property is 1,500. And the reckless conduct is going to be 1,000. Total bond is set at 4,000. It is a surety bond. To stay away from the location intersection at 14th and Spring Street in downtown Atlanta. And we're going to reset all three cases to the August 22nd court date. And that would be Miss Grace, do you need all the other two case numbers?
I have them, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Ms. Champion, can you put in the chat to Miss Grace, please? Thank you.
We have them, Judge.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Your Honor, what's the breakdown on that?
Battery is 1,500, criminal trespass causing damage is 1,500, and the reckless conduct is 1,000, 4,000 surety. Next case, please.
Next, we have Mr. Kaufman, that's position number 11. Mr. Kaufman.
This is Jason Kaufman, accused of battery, family violence from August 9th, 2024. Mr. Kaufman, your accusation is 24 CR 5568B. He's been advised of his rights, and currently counsel for Mr. Kaufman is going to be Ms. Kim. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
No.
Okay. Ms. Mukeke? Please unmute.
I apologize. Officers arrived at the incident location 3740 Hedgecliff Court. I met with Savannah Kaufman, who had called because her parents were arguing in the master bedroom and she believed her father, the defendant, had a gun. They met with the defendant and the victim, Nina Kaufman. They were in the bedroom. They separated the parties. Ms. Kaufman advised that the parties had been arguing when the defendant pushed her, and as she fell, she hit the side of her face on a laundry basket, which caused a laceration to her lip. After she fell, she looked up and saw the defendant with a gun to his head, threatening to shoot himself with a loaded gun. The defendant did admit to officers that he pushed the victim, but stated the victim was coming at him, and that is why he pushed her. The victim told officers the defendant never threatened her with the gun. Our office has spoken with Ms. Nina Kaufman, who confirmed that they are married and live together. They share one child who is currently 18 years old. She said they have had altercations in the past, but this is the first time the police have been called. She says she is in fear of the defendant, but still wants contact and wants the defendant to return to the residence because their child is going off to college this weekend. She is unsure if the defendant would be violent with her again if he returns back to the residence. She did say this is the first time the defendant has pulled out a gun during an argument. The state's recommendation is a $3,500 surety bond. At this time, it is no further contact. There hasn't been an ample cooling down period. The victim has stated that she's afraid of him. I appreciate that she probably wants him to see his daughter off to college, but we do have some concerns about her safety. Stay away from the incident location. Anger awareness, some type of mental health counseling seems like it might be appropriate. No drugs, weapons, or alcohol, of course, and I would ask the court to sound for Ms. Nina Kaufman.
Ms. Nina Kaufman, I do see a Nina on the Zoom panel. You have a right to speak at this proceeding with regards to bond and bond conditions, but you also have a right to remain silent if you do not want to contribute. So if you'd like to contribute, this will be the time to unmute and start your video.
And of course, I just want to add, we want him to, of course, surrender the weapons that he does have in his possession.
I appreciate that. I have no further comments.
Okay. Thank you. Please mute your screen. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. My client Kaufman is 50 years old and he's gainfully gainfully employed. at a law firm. He does e-discovery. He's a project manager there. Your Honor, their marriage has been 19 years and they're not going through divorce. They are going through counseling actually, and my client want to have a no further violent contact, and he is willing to surrender his weapon, and he's willing to have continuous counseling as well. We would like to request for a signature on bond through a pretrial. This is his first arrest ever. So that's about it, Your Honor.
Bond is going to be set at 20,000. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services level 3. Upon being released, Mr. Kaufman is going to be equipped with an ankle monitor, and he's going to have to pay for the monitoring services out of his own pocket. He will report to pretrial once a week. He is to undergo a MH evaluation within 10 days of being released and submit to any counseling or treatment or medication as required. He's also to enroll in a DBIP program within 30 days of being released, and that is a 24-week program where he must attend all classes continuously. He's to have no further contact with Nina Kaufman and Savannah Kaufman until further order of the court. He's also to stay away from 3740 Hedgecliff Court in Johns Creek, Georgia. He may return one time only to retrieve his personal belongings. That visit shall be with a police officer. After that, within 30 days of being released, Mr. Kaufman shall update the court with his new mailing address. Mr. Kaufman, this is a very serious situation. You are to required not only to enroll in the domestic violence program for classes, but you're also required to undergo a MH, what we call a mental health evaluation, and to submit to any treatment counseling that's required. You are to refrain from possession of any illegal drugs, and you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons and any firearms. Any firearms on your one-time visit, you're not allowed to retrieve any firearms or weapons on that visit. And Ms. Kaufman, if there are any weapons or firearms in the home, they have to be surrendered to the authorities for destruction. Your next court date will be sent to your new address. As indicated, you're not allowed to share the same marital home until further order of the court. Thank you.
You said 50,000?
20.
20, okay.
If you get arrested again, if you violate any of the conditions of the bond, if you violate the no contact, the stay away, or you fail to enroll in programs required by court, or if you do not pay for your ankle monitoring services, pretrial services is authorized to revoke the signature bond and convert it to either a surety bond or a cash bond. Thank you. Next case, please.
Excuse me.
I'm sorry.
I was called on earlier and none of these buttons that I see now were available to me when you called my name.
I don't know, other than Angelica, who are you?
Yes, Angelica Moss.
Which case was that for?
With Jeremy Campbell.
Right, you want to start your video?
Yes, I see it.
All right, Ms. Moss, what would you like to know?
I know they told me yesterday that I could speak. They just told me to unmute and stuff, but I couldn't do anything earlier.
We've already moved on. He's to have no further contact with you. He's got a $3,000 surety bond. His next court date is August 22nd. He's required to stay away from 5871 Village Loop.
So why would he have no contact with me if I spoke with someone yesterday regarding that?
Because the court has ordered it. All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Courtroom 2, who do we have, please?
We have position number 8, Mr. Henderson.
All right. This is State versus Brandon Henderson, accused of battery, family violence from August 8th, 2024. Mr. Henderson, you have been advised of your rights. Your accusation number is 24 CR 5566E, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Kim. Oh, Mr. McLean. Okay, thank you.
Honor, I think If his mother is on Zoom, I think we should probably go into a breakout for MH reasons.
What is the mother's name?
Let's see, Rachel Henderson.
All right, Rachel Henderson is present. Courtroom 2, do we have other cases to address?
Yes, Your Honor.
May I take those up and leave Mr. Henderson towards the end?
Yes.
Thank
that's
you.
fine.
All right, Ms. Henderson, you can mute and stop your video for now. We will return to this case.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
We're gonna go to, we could go to position number 10. Mr. Jackson. Back row.
Position 10, Kenneth Jackson.
Yes, Your Honor.
Kenneth Jackson's case is 24 CR 5567C, accused of willful obstruction of an officer and reckless conduct from August 8th. Mr. Jackson, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is Mr. McLean. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
11. Last arrest was in April for obstruction, criminal damage to property. That's 24 PI 002796. It's pretrial bond. 2016 simple assault conviction. That's all.
How much was the pretrial bond in that case?
It's a UJR.
Oh, okay, thank you. Ms. Mulcahy?
Yes, Your Honor. The defendant is accused of setting a fire at the intersection of Peachtree Street and 10th Street Northeast. Upon arrival, officers observed him screaming and cursing while standing over the fire. The defendant threatened to jump into the fire if officers approached him or tried to extinguish the fire. Officers had to pull the defendant away, and as they attempted to place him in custody, he resisted. An eyewitness stated the defendant was in a dispute with his partner when he decided to burn his partner's belongings. The defendant's partner was on scene but refused to cooperate or press charges. I do not have a name for that partner. The state's recommendation is a $1,000 surety bond on the willful obstruction, a $2,500 surety bond on the reckless conduct. An MH evaluation of some sort might be appropriate given the facts in this case. No drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
All right, thank you. Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, it might be more appropriate to have anger awareness than mental health. I spoke with Mr. Jackson and I understood that this is a moment of bad judgment and intense anger. So I think the anger awareness would, I don't know that this is really a mental health problem so much as just going too far.
Oh, all right. On the willful obstruction is going to be $1,500. On the reckless conduct is going to be $2,500. Total bond is a $4,000 surety bond. He's to stay 200 yards away from the intersection of 1021 Peachtree Street, and no illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. And this next court date is going to be August 22nd. Thank you.
All right, next we have position. Give me 1 second. Mr. Walker, that is position number 15.
Cameron Walker?
Yeah.
All right. We're going to waive sounding on this charge. Cameron Walker, if you please have a seat in the chair. Cameron Walker. Cameron Walker is accused of a PI charge under Accusation 24 CR 55708 from April 5th, 2024. Mr. Walker, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is Mr. McLean.
No, actually, it's Michael.
Miss Kim, okay. Both of you have your panels unmuted, so it's just a draw of the dice. Okay. Mr. Howard, any priors?
10. 2017 possession of a scheduled controlled substance. It's scheduled 3, 4, or 5. Suspended license, given false name. And he appears to be on probation for that based on the timing of it. I think it times out next year.
Okay.
2013 probation, couple of FTAs from 2012, given false name, no low.
Thank you. Ms. Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. This is
Can we
a
make sure that there's no live stream? I requested the live stream to be
Oh, we're not going to go into the details.
okay,
Just give me the bond. I've already read the warrant.
sure.
So this
Thank
is
you.
a delayed arrest, Your Honor, outstanding warrant. We've been in touch with the victim in this case who describes the incident and expresses that she is fearful. She may be here on the Zoom. Her name is Brittany Koplah, Koplah. As you know, if you've read the warrants, this was captured on Zoom video. This defendant was standing on her porch. The state would request a $2,000 surety bond and a requirement that the defendant stay away from the location and have absolutely no contact with the victim. We would also join any request for BHET, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
Thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 31 years old, and I believe he was arrested on July 16, 2024, and he was released from ACDC yesterday. So it was exactly same charge. I was able to verify with Officer Milton at ACDC that he was supposed to be released. So we are kind of confused about why he was transported here and do the same thing again.
Do you have the other open case number? Because I don't see that. I know the warrant was taken out on August 2nd.
August 2nd?
Of this year?
Then was it a different charge, I guess, he was at ACDC?
The warrant was issued on August 2nd, and this was for an incident from April 16. Oh, sorry, from April 16. It's not April 5th, April 16. That's just a mistake on the calendar. And I'm just trying to see what other matters you were. And you're saying there was a different case yesterday?
I do not know. I wanted to verify, but I couldn't verify yet. But I just wanted to let Your Honor know that he has been.
He was booked in on
Yes.
August 8th, and he's been
Fulton
in custody for 2 days now.
Right, but he was at ACDC until yesterday from July 16, 2024.
Deputy, do you have any information about his bookings at ACDC?
I do not. I don't have any information.
Officer Milton, are you there at Fulton ACDC? But anyway, he is not employed as of now because of MH issue. He graduated from high school 2012 at Southwest DeKalb County High School. We would like to request for signature on bond through pretrial, and yeah, stay away or no further contact from that. We have no objection to that.
Let me see. I'm sorry, Ms. Kim. I wish the documents were a little clearer, but there is no indication of him being. And according to the police report, the allegation is that the defendant fled the scene, and the warrant was taken out August 2nd at the booking date of August 8th. So unless I have something to the contrary, I don't see any Riverside issues.
Can I verify with the ACDC office, Milton, Your Honor?
Okay.
I'll
Presently,
call
his bond is going to be set at $1,500. It is a surety bond. He is to stay 200 yards away from the entire apartment complex or subdivision at 101 Veranda Circle in Southeast Atlanta, and he's to have no further contact with, I don't have the name of the alleged victim there on the warrant. Let me see if I can get that.
Your Honor, her name is Brittany, Britney, last name is
Koplah. Okay, got it. Thank you.
And
No
that's
further contact.
95 Veranda Circle.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I'm just going with the.
No, I understand. I think the warrant had a mistake in it.
All right, thank you.
Oh, Your Honor, actually, Officer Milton can verify about July.
Okay. Officer Milton, this we are addressing Cameron Walker.
Yes.
All right, do you know if he was at ACDC yesterday?
Yes, Your Honor. I spoke with I forgot her name, down in Central. And she said that he was booked in, it was off of Miss Francois that I spoke to. And she said that he was booked in on July 16th and he was released yesterday from ACDC.
And do you know what was the case that he was booked in on?
No, but I can go down there to intake and find out for you.
Okay, yes, I really need that because I need to
Okay.
know if he has a separate case. Thank
Okay,
you.
will do.
Thank you.
So presently it's a $1,500 surety to stay away from 95 Veranda Circle and have no contact with Brittany Coppola. And his next court date is going to be August 22nd, and I'll hold till the end of the calendar to find out about his other case, if there's one. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next case, please.
Can we go back to position number 8, Mr. Henderson?
Okay, do we have position 18, Quantum Webb?
Position 18.
Is a waiver of appearance, Your Honor. I waived his appearance according to his wishes.
Okay, and let me see, other than position number 8,
Position 10, Kenneth Jackson.
We did Jackson, right?
we already did, that's a $4,000.
We did Kenneth
surety
Jackson?
bond. Yeah. Position
Yes.
9, Luis Hernandez. Position 9.
Bond was posted.
Okay, so that's been further notice for trial.
And then position number 13, Mr. Nails, Jamel Nails.
Yes, Jamel Nails.
COVID and isolation, but was a conflict anyway.
So this is going to be a medical reset to tomorrow, August 10th. All right, so the only other matter left to address is position 18, the waiver of appearance. This is Quantum Webb, case 24 CR 5561H. And Mr. Webb is accused of criminal trespass from August 8th, represented by counsel, Ms. Kim, who's waived his appearance. Any priors on Mr. Webb?
41. He was arrested 8 times last year for trespass.
See that?
You want me to keep going?
No, thank you. Ms. Allen, anything else to add?
This is an incident from August the 8th. The defendant was at 556 Northside Drive Southwest. That's a Chevron station. There, the manager and representation for the owner, Mr. Ehaz, E-J-A-Z, called the police and reported that the defendant was on the property. The police had been to the location the day before and issued a no trespass order and specifically told the defendant that he could not come onto the location and into the store unless he had expressed permission from the people there, especially Mr. Ehaz. It's reported that he came into the location and helped himself to a cup of coffee. At that time, he was taken into custody, Your Honor. We'd be asking for $1,000 surety bond, stay away from the location and have no contact, and we'd join any recommendation for a BHET.
Ms. Kim?
I do see one of his prior incidences back in 2001. Felony conviction says guilty, but MH.
So I requested social worker to have a visit in person to verify about BHET, whether he's competent or not. So it will be done very shortly. He has been homeless for the last 3 years, Your Honor, and he's recommended for level 3 signature on bond pretrial. He's 43 years old. He does not have ID. He has no children, no job, so no family. So it was kind of hard to gather that much information, Your Honor. So signature on bond through pretrial level 3 will be the best thing I can do, and stay away from that location and no further contact.
And I'm not recommending it. That's why I didn't say nothing. I'm sorry, but he got it's too extensive.
He's got more than 8 arrests from 2022 until the present time, just in Fulton County alone. And his bond is going to be set at $1,000 surety. Please make sure that he's seen by a social worker. Next court date is going to be August 22nd, and to stay away from all Chevron gas stations, including 556 Northside Drive in Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you. All right, we can pause the live stream.